just in case if I need to define a word. So, as
All
long as
right.
y'all
I mean,
understand
I'm
it.
not even speaking on the words that I don't know the definition to. That's a
TK,
non-starter right there.
Look, you found it, Shonda.
You got one
Cindy,
too?
where's
Yeah.
yours?
what
Oh,
page should
Cindy,
I go
Cindy's
to?
like, I'm in New
York.
York. Cindy said, I'm in New York.
What page should I go to, TK? Where you reading from?
Well,
Yeah.
transgender is on page
Under T?
yes, 299.
I got the King's Dictionary over here. I don't know what y'all are reading.
Listen,
Wait, he said I got the
Not
and
the
I got a King
King's
James
Yes,
Version.
he did.
Dictionary.
Yes,
Not
he
the
did.
King's Dictionary.
You know
He
what,
said,
guys?
I got the Bible and
The Bible's right over there too. That's on the
You
shelf.
got it.
It's
we
always
gotta
got
get
the
good.
you
Bible.
we gotta get you the Queen's English
I'm good.
LGBTQIA plus dictionary.
I'll call y'all. I know
You'll
who to
call
call.
us if you need
Gotta
something.
be the face of change,
Who's
Ryan.
the author of that book?
Chloe O.
It's
Davis.
801.
We actually had her on the show, Ryan. Go ahead, Cindy. Give her a plug. I'm gonna hold the book for you.
TK, it's
Uh,
801.
Chloe O. Davis is a dancer, choreographer, and an author. Spent 10 years penning this book, interviewing many members of the LGBTQIA plus community. And it's a dictionary for those who would like to be seen and those who want to learn more. Available on Amazon.
I
Because
guess
we're
so.
gonna take you to school tonight.
Well,
Y'all just be yelling, it's 801, not knowing we live already.
we
Lord,
live. That's why I'm waiting for y'all to do y'all's thing. I'm not gonna comment on it.
That's what I love to do is just catch us all off guard, you know. So Shonda, you didn't even know. Now you want to fix your lip gloss. Hi,
I
Shonda.
didn't know
Hi,
you were
everybody.
I didn't say anything inappropriate.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. Did you guys change? Shonda, I turned my Facebook to public, so make sure everyone to use this
You only want
opportunity.
to have that problem, so.
Oh, excuse me. I'm the only one with problem. Me? Am I the problem?
Me? Am I the problem? Am I the drama?
Am I the drama? Wait, I am the drama. I'm not the drama. But
I really do stay on TikTok.
that's what you sound like my daughter. Daria's like, Mom, please stay off TikTok.
And my
please.
kids tell me that too, so.
All the time. Hey, hi Ryan, how are you?
Hi, everybody.
We gave you a shout out like last week, and we were hoping you feel better.
For real? Appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell everybody why you were gone. What happened?
I was under the weather. I had the flu-like symptoms.
Yeah. Oh, you feel better? Wait, look at Cindy's face. Look at Cindy's face, Ryan. Right. Cindy, the lies.
I had flu-like symptoms. But I just took a rapid test yesterday, so I don't have COVID.
Thank you. Wait, look at all of us.
Anymore. I'm feeling a lot better.
Okay, there you go. Wait,
Nope.
Nope. We're not gonna do this with you tonight.
I'm with Shonda for the rest of the night. We
That's
are
right.
one.
But it's safe over here, David. Ryan, I mean, it's safe over here.
Cindy.
Yeah.
How was your vacation, Shonda? I haven't spoken to you since you went on your vacation.
Right, it was rejuvenating just to not have anything to do but relax.
That's a great word.
I told the girls last week that we just ate breakfast, went to the beach, ate lunch, took a nap, got up, took a shower, and ate dinner. Like that was a whole day, and it was very relaxing.
That's a very important. Good. Everybody needs to rejuvenate. I haven't gotten my moment yet, but we'll get it.
You got to. Hope you get it soon.
Cindy, are you done traveling the world, Cindy? You back? Or are we good?
I'm currently in New York City, so no.
Away from them planes, huh?
Not yet. Book some more flights today.
We're here.
Ryan looks different, huh? He's been gone for how long? And what does he have, Cindy?
It's what happened, man.
He got mutton chops. What's that?
I need to
goatee.
I need to put some color. I need to put some color in it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Y'all caught me off guard. I almost didn't come on.
I love it though. I love it.
Yeah.
Get it.
COVID, when COVID hit in 2020, I was like, I'm at home for 3 months. I didn't know what they were doing. I just let it go. I'm like, you know what? I never really had to be to let it grow, but it was so great. I had to color. So I colored it like for 2 years. And then like last year, I'm done with this. So I went back and knocked it down. And now COVID hit again 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, let me let this thing go. And you see the camouflage and I'm not a fan. So I got to put color, but I haven't put color yet. So now I'm recorded. And one of the reasons why I cut it off, because I'm like, I'm fraudulent. You know what I mean? It's not a dark beard. I got gray, and you know what I mean. So yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the patches, Cindy. You call me out. You call me out, Cindy. I don't like the patches. What'd you say, Shonda?
A gray beard looks very distinguished.
Yeah.
But it ain't gray though. It's like let me get like some even patches or something, like some even.
No,
pepper, you know what I mean? Like,
nah. You gotta be authentic with it. Be organic.
Why is
organic?
It
But you know what, Ryan? You probably talked to George. George did have his barber cut it down so it can grow back evenly because he was starting to see that it wasn't connecting where it should. So he got it cut down and then it grew back the right way.
Unless he has a magic barber, it doesn't matter. This is all the same length. It just grows different colors in different spots.
Bless you.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Do it.
Do it.
Oh, bless you.
Do it, Ryan. Do it all different colors. Like a highlight.
Already different colors. That's the problem.
Do it.
It's like a highlight.
We do it. All right. Hi, everybody. Yes, Shonda?
Now I was going to say, if you see my head down, I'm updating Twitter. So I'm listening, though. I'll be 1 second.
I'm trying to get slick.
I'm updating Twitter.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of Talk Miami Talk Show. I'm your girl, TK Owens, and I have the pleasure of being your host tonight. But we're going to go around the room because Ryan used to be a guest. But now tonight, you were voluntold to be here tonight.
Voluntold.
Yes, he was. I didn't even ask. He is co-host. He has been promoted from a guest to co-host. So we're gonna go around the room to the lady that is on Twitter right now that's not looking.
Why did you start with me first?
Just to get your attention. Go ahead.
Good evening. I am the Dr. Shonda Roberts. Great to be here again on this wonderful, wonderful Monday night. If you see this pop up every now and then, it says nope. And that means I'm choosing not to respond, but in a very respectful way. But thank you all again for joining. If you all are watching, give us some hearts and some likes, and please share this podcast. I'm going to send it down, or am I sending it to the gentleman underneath, Mr. Ryan David? Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Shonda. Thank you, Tika. Thank you, Cindy, for having me back. All jokes aside, it is always a privilege to join you ladies. You have a great thing going here, and I was not voluntold. I was asked, and it is an honor to join you all. I do not take it for granted. I enjoy chatting with you guys. And I would tell you this, though. She did kind of strong arm me a little bit with Mama TK Owens looks forward to me every week. I'm like, well, I can't say no to that. So what's up, Mama TK Owens?
Oh, Mom, he did that.
I just want to say that Casey Craig is on.
Your fiance.
What up, Casey?
Look.
Casey, don't give up, girl. Don't give up.
Get in that chat.
Don't give up the fight.
I will put don't give up now. Don't give up, boo.
Keep sliding in his DM, girl.
Am I supposed to say? Am I supposed? She's a classy lady. She's a classy.
Put canola oil on the slide.
Am I supposed to say who I am? Am I supposed to do more of an introduction, TK?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Give us your social media. How can we find you?
Okay, for those who don't know and haven't joined the show, I don't know what rock you've been living under, but I'm Ryan David, and I am a leadership and lifestyle coach. I'm also a psychology professor, and trying to bring a little bit of I guess you could say a psychological aspect or element or commentary to the show. All of my handles, all my social media and my website is The Ryan David, at The Ryan David. You can see it there in my name. And yeah, follow me on IG, connect with me in the DMs, and check out the YouTube channel. These ladies have really kind of lit a fire under my butt to start producing some content. Been a little under the weather for 2 weeks, so it kind of set me back, but it's coming. it's a special month, Mental Health Awareness Month. So we'll talk a little bit about that, I believe. So
Yeah.
good month to start kicking out some content that I have. So thank you for having me back.
Thank you. Pass it to the lady next to you.
Of course. Yeah, here we go. Cindy, will you please introduce yourself? Welcome back. She's traveling the globe, and I wasn't here last week, but I know you were here last week as well, correct? Where were you last week? Where are you now? What's going on with you?
Oh, hi everybody. It's your friendly neighborhood Cindy Winters, global, worldwide and domestic. I'm currently in New York City. This is my second Monday in New York City. Would you believe that? Would you believe it? I have my whole setup here. All I had to do was walk in the room and turn on the computer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here. And I'm here so excited to be back. Ryan, it's great to have you back. TK,
yeah,
always a pleasure. And Dr. Shonda Roberts, we're going to have a great time tonight.
Yes, we are. So speaking of that, guys, guess what? It's been exactly 1 year since we started this talk show.
Hey.
Oh, God, we need a round of applause for that.
We made it to a year. I remember us going live on May 3rd. Of course, tomorrow's May 3rd, but still, you get my point. But we've been doing this consistently for a year. And that's what I hope that we're also inspiring others for anything that you want to start. It's easy to quit. But to me, consistency is the one that pays off. You have to keep going and keep going with a strategy of knowing where you're going, having those goals set. And this is one thing that we wanted to do. Now that we've actually came to the 1 year anniversary, it's time for us to come back to the drawing board, think of some other things, find other ways to keep this show going, which also starts with you, making sure that you guys share our stories, share this podcast, and make sure you join us every Monday night. So with that being said, guys, can we just have some real conversation tonight? Like, I know usually I am Rhonda Burgundy, but tonight I literally just want us to be as if we are out to dinner and we're having some real conversations about the topics that I chose tonight.
So
but before,
what you're saying is for Shonda to put her piece of tape in the trash?
It was in my hand. I'm waiting.
For a lot of things, right? Wait, what does your sign say, Ryan?
Oh, that's the Lions Den. That's my crib. That's my crib. The Lions Den. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Right.
That's home base. Sorry, I didn't like the reflection. I didn't mean to throw us off.
That's okay. So
real conversation. We're at dinner.
That's right. We're having real conversations. I always want our conversations to be real, right?
Always, for sure.
So one of the first things that I want to talk about is topic number 1. Is a man always expected to pay the woman's tab, including her friends? And let me explain to you why I brought this conversation up. I saw a post on Instagram that a friend said that she invited her best friend out, but her best friend ended up showing up with her dude.
A male? Wait. Do male, female. Okay. Who's the friend? Who's the best friend? Who's your friend? What?
I'm so glad because I forgot Ryan is representing the male population. Okay, so
can't speak for all men. I'll just speak for me. Some people will agree with me, maybe not. But
so 2 female best friends, right? One bestie invited the other bestie out.
Males or females?
They both are females.
Gotcha.
Okay. So one of the besties invited her man out to lunch. She brought her man with her. And after they ate, the boyfriend said, he asked the waiter, can we split the bill? I want the bill into 2. And the other bestie felt some type of way, like all I did was order an appetizer and a drink, and she brought her man. I didn't even ask her to bring her man, but he had the nerve to say, waiter, let's go ahead and split the 2 bill, and only paid for his chick. Was he wrong for doing that?
Look around with his cup.
Or no?
Ryan got to
I'm
cut.
I'm gonna wait.
He's
I'm gonna wait
sipping-
my
he is
Cindy. I'm gonna
sipping
wait my
that.
turn. You can let me know, Cindy. I'm gonna wait.
I'm going to Shonda first. So Shonda, I'm gonna give you different scenarios. That's your scenario, Shonda. Was he wrong for splitting the bill when he was not even invited? She brought her, tagged her man along, and only asked to pay for him and his girlfriend. Was he wrong?
No, because how did he know he wasn't invited? How did he know that his girlfriend probably just said, "Hey, come go out with me. I'm going out to dinner with TK or Cindy, whatever." And he came, but he does not have to. He's not entitled to, obligated to pay for anyone's tab but his girlfriend and himself. Nor should he be looked upon as wrong or not being a man for not doing so. If he did do it, that's extra. That's extra. That's incentive. But no, he's not obligated, required to do anything of that, for anyone at that table.
Okay. Well, Sarah said each couple is on their own, but Sarah, they want a couple. She brought her man, and that became one couple. So you guys do not think that he should have paid for. Okay, go ahead.
Let me just make sure I'm understanding. The girl invited her friend, and her friend brought her man.
Yes.
Okay, so he paid for his food and his girlfriend's food. The one who did the invitation paid for her own food because her intentions was to pay for her own meal anyway because she invited the friend. Right?
Look at Ryan's face.
Ryan. Okay, Shonda invites TK out to brunch.
Mm-hmm.
TK brings Farrell.
Mm-hmm.
Farrell pays for TK and himself.
And Shonda's upset.
I shouldn't be.
And Shonda was upset. That was this scenario.
I shouldn't be. Because if I invited you, that means I intended on paying anyway. So why would I be upset that now I'm only paying for myself instead of myself and you? You actually saved me $1. Right?
Ryan?
Cindy, did you have something you want to say?
She's processing.
I don't see this as being a problem.
My glasses on.
I think the girl, the facts are the facts. If TK invites Shonda to a dinner and Shonda brings George is in the right to pay for Shonda and not for TK.
I'm going to do y'all one better.
Because TK planned on paying for herself anyway because she invited her own friend, which is why I'm confused as to why people are upset.
Let me know when to go because I'm going to do y'all one better.
So from a man's point of view or from your point of view, Ryan.
That one.
What would you do in that situation if you went out with your date? Well, first of all, your best friend. Okay, go.
I got it. You want me to keep it real? You want me to keep it real with you? What would happen?
We said let's have real conversation.
This is what would happen. Whatever girl I go with to that scenario, that situation, I don't got to worry about nothing because that girl's taking the card out for both of us.
Wait a minute. No,
because I'm going with her to lunch with her best friend.
Ryan.
What's the problem?
Ryan.
No, not because I tell the girl to, because that's the kind of woman that I'm gonna be with. She's like, I got this, babe. I invited you out.
Ryan gonna be living single.
Casey, run now, Casey. Casey, run.
You know what I'm saying? I bet Casey's that kind of chick. I bet she's down like that. Look, Casey, hypothetically, Casey,
don't do it. I'm your friend.
Casey asked me to go out to dinner with her friend. All right, I'll go with you, babe. We'll go out. I go out. We go there. The check comes. I'm like, first of all, of course, in my mind, I'm gonna get the card out to pay for who? Well, just me and my chick, obviously.
You and Casey, say the name.
Whatever.
Are you saying you about to do a pump fake?
No, I'm saying if I go to get the card out or whatever, but I'm trying to tell you, not only would it not be an issue, like to me, that would be the move.
You know what? Casey said, I'm sorry, he's totally right.
Casey,
shout out to Casey, bro. There's some real ones out there. I'm telling you, bro.
TK, she better agree with him.
If she's gonna be sliding in that DM.
No. I want to be clear. I want to be clear about what I'm saying. I want to be clear about what I'm saying. I don't mean to come off as though I'm gonna tell her to pay. What I'm saying is, and if I go in that scenario and that's a situation, I probably would be with someone who already off top would know, hey, I'm bringing you out to eat with my friends. I got this one, babe, real quick, whatever. But your original question was mind-blowing because you're telling me that the girl that ordered the appetizer was upset that she had to pay for her own appetizer. Did I understand that correctly?
She was upset that.
Are you friends with this person?
No, this was on something I found on social media.
Okay.
This is something I found on social media.
Okay, I thought you were friends with this person. We were having
No,
dinner
no.
conversation.
He got a life coach.
But I mean, you guys don't see. I guess my question is, let me
Put the
read.
comment. Put the comment back up. Can you put the comment back up?
Which
the
one,
comment was,
Casey?
yeah, like what you said. I would totally.
Okay, here we go.
It's since to pay. That's my vibe. I'm super whatever she said. Like,
it keeps going away.
Go ahead and put it in. Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead and read it, Dr. Chandra.
That's real right there,
I
bro.
totally insist to pay. That's my vibe. I'm super assertive with my coins.
I'm a size 7 shoe.
Listen,
but see, that's how you. Well, hold on. That's how you get a pair of shoes. When you hold it down like that in that scenario, next thing you know, the next week, hey, babe, I got you some shoes. Like that's the exchange. You know, it's not expectations. It's surprises. It's initiative. It's not expectation. Expectations is how you lose your man.
So okay. So Casey may be right with this one. I can say the scenario is
Shonda,
my invitation,
too early for the tape,
my
Shonda.
treat.
But the question was, the question was, should he pay for her?
Right.
For the other friend.
Right.
Correct.
Appetizer.
Right.
No, neither should my girl. Unless she want to.
Yeah, that girl is out and she's paying for her own meal.
She got the appetizer. Did she get the appetizer thinking, oh, this dude's here, he'll pay for it. Let me cut this appetizer.
Okay.
You know what?
There are people like that though.
Go ahead. Well,
they were messing with the wrong ones.
So are you under the philosophy of partnership 50-50?
That might be the starting place to fall back on, but it doesn't have to be that way. Like I think that the starting place should be we're both good.
100.
Then it's a matter of who wants to take the initiative and then it's like, I get no. Like, but expectations, I don't like. I don't like expectations. Right. There could be understandings, but
you should never go into anything expecting anything. And I guess Ryan, I can't say, I'm not saying I agree with you, but what I can say is let's go back to the question. Is a man always expected to pay? Women, Cindy, I'm gonna ask you this question.
Yeah, that's crazy.
When you go out with a man, do you expect him to pay? Yes or no? Be honest.
It depends on.
It does depend
where we are in the relationship. Yes. Because if this is the beginning of a thing and I am being asked out on a date, the only way this man is going to show me that he's going to be able to provide for me, and this is probably some old Steve Harvey. This is probably some old Steve Harvey method or thought process.
But you're making a point. You're making a fair point, though.
But it's about more so the gesture of I want to show you that I'd like your attention. I'd like to spend time with you. So I think on the first date, yes, you pay. On the third date, you pay.
If you're the one pursuing, like you said, if you're the one pursuing, yeah.
Right. If the woman goes, you know what? I'd like to see you on Saturday, and she invites, then she might be up for the bill. Right. Now, the truth is, I don't put a budget on a date. I judge based on creativity anyway. If one person is going to have a date that's technically a cheap date, is a McDonald's budget, you better come up with some kind of fun activity. We gonna do it. We going to the gym. We gonna work out outside. We're gonna do yoga, something. if it's an inexpensive date, because that further lets me know that you are trying, right?
Yeah.
But as far as monetary, I think it can be split, because also at the same time, if you're with a person, you want to build with them. I don't want my partner assuming every dinner he's paying for the bill. I want him to be transparent with me and saying, hey, we're gonna go to McDonald's, but you know that our budget, we're trying to go to Antigua.
Right.
This is out. We got to go 50-50 on this.
Yeah.
Because we got goals to go to Antigua.
I think
can agree with
I think that's great points, Cindy. And I think that if we had a longer conversation about this, which we're probably not going to, there's a lot of different ways you can go with it. I think that
I have another scenario, but go ahead, Ryan.
okay. I was saying, I think that where you are in a relationship is also important. If it's like hey man, like we're enjoying spending time together right now. We don't really know and understand where we are as far as a relationship. We haven't really gotten to where both of our finances are, and there hasn't been really an understanding, and we haven't really been like how we're going to contribute to the relationship. Someone's more financially stable than the other one. They may pick up the tab more often because they obviously can. Someone else compensates for other ways. They help out around the home, or they support you with whatever you need, or whatever the case is. They use their car instead, or like that's relationship stuff where, yeah, I'm going to pay more often, but that's because there's some compensation, if you will, or some reciprocation in other ways later on. That's relationship stuff. When I say understanding, that's the understanding. But the question that you put up there was like an off top, nobody really knows anybody, or a first date, or everyone's hanging out. The expectation, because this person has certain genitals, they have to pay. What's funny to me is in 2022, all the conversation about equality and about men and women and all of this push, this wave, this mentality that does so much about gender differences and similarities and all that. But that one old school mentality still, for some reason, is in that back pocket of all these females. Like you want to be seen as independent and X, Y, and Z and respected equally, but you still want to expect that old school mentality. I don't mind the old school mentality. Like I don't mind that if you have that, but you can't have a new school attitude with an old school mentality and think you're just gonna. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I have a problem with, where this expectation is from an older school mentality, which is kind of what Cindy was talking about, which is, are you trying to pursue me, and are you going to invest in me in a way which I see you're actually, you're serious about it, and you also can afford to, and before I commit in whatever way I do and blah, blah, blah. Or is it just, nah, I'm going to just play that old school card now because you're a man and you have to do that or whatever. Like there's so many ways you could go with this. I don't know what your other scenario was, but.
Dr. Shonda, I want to throw the other scenario at you, but did you want to say something in reference to Ryan's comment?
Just to talk, I know it will go off a little bit if we go there, but I just want to say that in the beginning of relationships and dating, of course, all that stuff, financial stuff, is important to look at and pay attention to. But everyone has to come in a relationship. I don't want to go off. You know what I mean? Go too far. But everyone needs to come into a relationship in the whole situation with being honest and truthful. Like if you ain't got it, don't take me somewhere you ain't got it. Don't go in the bind trying to impress me, because if you ain't feel each other out, maybe a picnic in the park is just as fun, as doing something else. I'm a picnic type of person, so
that's where we're going.
Stay in your lane, stay in your pocket, and don't do too much, and don't do something that you can't continue to do to have the other person expecting it.
Okay, well,
marriage and
let me say one thing. Shauna, let me say one thing about that real quick. It's funny because I had a conversation with my boy, and his MO is to drop a lot of money early on to impress. He can afford it, but it's like, so I told him, listen, you got to remember, you're also setting a bar.
Can you keep up?
From the jump, you're setting the bar. So you're not just setting the bar, you're setting expectations. I told him, I do the opposite. Like I might be able to afford fancy restaurants, but if I'm really interested in a woman, this is what I want to know.
Tell him, Ryan.
Would you be down with going to the park and having a little basket and doing something cheap? Would you want to spend time with me, or do you want to be seen or go out or be at a fancy restaurant and be about status? Because if you're going to be with me and we're going to spend time and maybe potentially spend my life together from the jump early on, is it about where we're going, what we're doing, or you want to spend time with me? So that's why early on, it's like, first of all, because it might go sideways and I never see you again. So I'm not going to drop a lot of money off top, because if you dip, then that's a waste. So it's a win-win to me if we go cheap early on, not like cheap, like not McDonald's cheap, like I'm going to take you out to dinner and then, like you say, show up like, no, but like an understanding of, hey, you want to go out to X, Y, and Z place just to spend some time or whatever. That's my philosophy, because then what happens is if she's super down for that and we enjoy our time at wherever we were that was kind of a little low budget or just chill or whatever, guess where we're going 2 weeks later? Surprise, somewhere mad nice. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to take you out because I liked how we, you know what I'm saying? So that's generally my philosophy.
Well,
yes.
Go ahead, Cindy.
Casey Craig just said, what'd she say?
Which one? Let me see.
The home cook. It's all about the home cooking.
Yes,
whatever, right?
That's very true.
Come on now, let's represent a community of people who don't cook,
who know how to. We're not gonna do this today. We're not gonna. Dr. Shonda, I have a scenario for you, right? And here's the last scenario with this question, right? And it's so right. Ryan, do we have an old school mentality or are we living in different times? So, Shonda, here's a scenario for you. All right, you're out with your girls. But I can't say this to you because you're married. Well, George, this is just a scenario. It's just a scenario, George.
But I go out with all of my friends are single, so it's okay. I'll hang out with them.
Okay. So Shonda, you're out with the girls, and a guy sees you across the room. George, I swear this is just a scenario. He sees you across. I know, right? You think George about to come for me. George, don't come for me. So say if he sees you across the room and he wants to come over to buy you a drink, but you're with two of your other friends. Is he supposed to only pay for your drink, or is he also supposed to pay for drinks for your? Also ask, do your girls want a drink as well? Is he wrong, or do you consider it rude if he doesn't do it for the other two girls?
So
supposed to is the key word, though. Like supposed to.
Right. I was going to say the supposed
or
to.
Is he but he did come over and offer. So there is. Right. He came over to offer. So if he offered, he is going to buy you a drink.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm going to say, I don't think he's supposed to, but it would be courtesy if he said, hey, ladies, what are y'all drinking? I'm not sitting by my... Let us sneeze or a BS?
It's a cough. Sorry. I'll mute it next time.
Want to make sure.
I got this dry cough. This.
I was just making sure. So he should say, hey, ladies, what do y'all drink? Hey, ladies, what are y'all drinking? But still direct his question to the person that he wants to really, have a continued or further conversation for. Now, would I, as someone, look at him like, oh, he cheap, he didn't buy everybody a drink? Oh, probably not, because he didn't buy the whole table a drink. But I've seen it happen. I've seen someone buy someone a drink and did not, and mentioned that he would buy the friend a drink, bought the friend a drink and decided, okay, I'm not paying for the drink because the other person ain't want to talk to him no more. So I've seen it happen. But I think as a man, if you come to a table and there's more than one person sitting there, then if you say, hey, ladies, can I buy y'all a drink? Drinks for what? $7-10 at the most? If you
not the place I hang out.
Don't come over there then.
Okay, she said what she said.
But I wouldn't look at him like cheap if he did. That's what I'm saying. If he did, it's not like, oh, child, no. No,
is it a turn off if he doesn't buy the other ladies a drink?
Not to me. Okay. It wouldn't be.
Okay, Ryan.
So flip side, as a man, Shonda, speaking as a man, and I'm just speaking as a man, not for all men. Here's the flip side of that. So you're with your girls, 3 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them. I'm interested in you. I want to talk to you. You're the one I want to talk to. So I'm coming over to buy you a drink because you're the one I'm interested in. I'm not buying all them a drink because I'm interested in you. So you can take that how you want to take that. Or the flip side is, I'm interested in you. You're with all your friends. Let me play this card. Hey, I'm going to buy everybody here a drink. But watch what happens now. If I buy everybody a drink, now guess what? Everybody's under my thumb now. Because equally now, I just bought everybody a drink. So if you act some type of way, and maybe your friend catches my eye, well, I already bought her a drink, so I'll just slide over there. See, that's where you got to be real careful what you ask for.
You know what? I'm gonna just cut off Ryan.
Just filling y'all in on how it works.
Oh, what?
Did y'all see that coming?
No. You got to understand women. We probably wouldn't care anyway.
Girl, you just want to drink. But the dude knows that.
We just want to drink.
That's why anyway.
That's why my original position would have been, I'm bringing the one I want to talk to a drink, and that's it. We'll see how that goes. Because I'm not going to spend a drink on everybody. Because I know the woman, they just want to drink most of the time anyway. Just want to get the drink out of the deal. So I defer back to my original, which is I'm going to go for the one person I want to talk to. I was just saying, that's
not wrong.
If you expect the guy to pay for drinks for everybody, there's a flip side to that. Now I done bought everybody a drink now.
Ladies, pay attention to what Ryan is saying. Cindy, jump in, Cindy.
This is why I don't drink.
Katrina, he is not playing tonight.
I don't drink either, by the way.
Drinks make you saucy.
I don't drink either.
And silly now, okay? And if you really want to talk to me, you better buy me dessert.
I'm down. See, I like where Cindy's head is at. Exactly. Dessert. Okay. Offer dessert.
You got to buy me a dessert.
I'll pay for it.
And mine, because I'm with him.
Mine too.
Get you a drink. You go sit at the bar while we eat a sundae.
Absolutely not. I don't want any of my friends eating no damn dessert. I'm happy to share it.
2 spoons.
I'm happy to share it. Okay.
Ooh, we ain't going out.
Ryan
But
just-
if I want a
Okay.
flourless torte,
Mm.
a chocolate flour, I'm very clear. Okay.
I don't even
Ask
know
my
what
boyfriend,
it
I'm
is,
very
but
clear.
I'll buy one for you.
I want a flourless torte
What's wrong with
with
flowers?
two spoons, or a flourless torte with however many friends I have.
Oh, chill.
Okay.
COVID.
But they're gonna go, girl, he got that for you. And I would go, y'all want some? And they're gonna go, nah, you got it.
Nah, you got
But
some
it
good
makes
friends.
it
I like your
abundantly clear
I like your friends.
that this is not my hypothetical mind, because clearly men aren't
You
thinking
know,
about,
you
I'm gonna
got
get
that
that
one
lady
girl
a
like,
dessert.
yeah, let me get some of that torte. Just like that. Real
You know
quick.
what?
So
Me.
No chill.
I think, I mean, as far as like making your claim very clear, you
Mhm.
buy one person, the one you want to talk to, one drink, one delight.
Mm.
I mean, that's what
Okay.
usually happens.
Okay.
Honestly. That's what
That-
men
Yeah.
don't usually buy drinks for the whole table. They usually buy for that
You,
one person.
you,
I
ahead,
have been
Cindy.
in places where men do buy all the
Come on
ladies'
now.
drinks.
I say
Me too.
usually.
It's so
too.
many
And-
scenarios too, Cindy. Like, am I with my boys and I'm trying to get
Bottles.
my boys with these girls, and I'll buy them all the
Connection
drinks,
that
and then my boys
everybody
come
gets
over
drink. That's
later.
very-
And
that's
it's
a really
like,
good
there's
point.
so many scenarios, though.
Look, Top Chef, Long Island for me. Me too, Sarah.
Stop
Gotta
it.
be Top Chef.
Because
Gotta be Top
when you
Chef.
say Long Island, you mean an iced tea?
Yes.
I'm
Long
not here to
Island,
judge
baby.
nobody's drinks.
Yes. Well, guys, we could be on this subject. I just wanted to throw different scenarios at you guys, because you wouldn't believe these were real conversations that I actually had at the hair salon. And there were, Ryan, I kid you not, there was 2 ladies in there that felt as though that was a turnoff if he came over and only offered to buy her a drink, but not her friends.
I
So I
understand
guess-
how, and I understand there's probably a situation where she would perceive that as that I'm with my friends and you're going to interrupt and come over and you want to talk to her. Well, like, I could see that. I understand the scenario in her. I see how that could be.
So I guess it all depends on the situations. So are we all in agreement to that? So of course we could be on this subject all night, but we got some more stuff to talk about. Y'all better get ready for Shonda State. But before we do that, it is time to go to the spotlight with Cindy. Cindy spotlight. Cindy spotlight.
Y'all,
Cindy spotlight.
hey, y'all. I don't know what happened the other day, but between last Monday and this Monday, maybe because I'm in one place for a longer period of time, I'm so motivated right now. Like, I am getting up every day at 6:30, going to the gym at 7, working out, making a proper regimen in the morning. I think it was after our conversation, TK, honestly. Thank you. And I shouldn't receive applause, but I accept it, because we had this conversation that I think it was last week, about our morning rituals and our morning regimen, right? And it really struck me and stuck with me to think that, you know what would probably create a more productive day, morning, or jump start to my day would be to get up and work out. So what I started doing was I grabbed this book, or this audiobook, by an author and life consulting a coach named Rachel Rogers. Rachel Rogers started her career as an attorney, and then she transitioned herself into coaching and consulting. And her book is called We Should All Be Millionaires. Now, this book, y'all, she's a woman. She's 39 years old. She's got 4 children, born and raised in New York, living in North Carolina, and really writing it down for people how to have a millionaire mindset. So it's not necessarily about we should all be rich. It's more about having a rich mindset, what you can do to sort of build a system around yourself to help your life and your relationship with yourself and your people in your world successful. So there was one thought that stuck out to me while listening to her podcast that she has with 2 other co-hosts, Robert Hartwell and Susan Hyatt, called Welcome to the Most. And they talk about managing their time like a millionaire, where there are certain things that you do and there are certain things you don't do or you like to not do. And one of the things that stuck out was, of course, you want to work out, because you know what it does for you. There are 3 thoughts. I should work out. I shouldn't miss my workout. I can't miss my workout, and I don't miss my workout. There are things that we are drawing hard lines in the sand and saying we don't do. We do it all the time. But for me, the thing that was sticking out was my workout. I need it. It's good for my mental. It's good for everything that will get me to be where I'd like to be for the rest of my day and in the long term. So what are some of the things that you guys are willing to not compromise on in your lives? What are the things that you don't do? And what is one thing that you say you are lenient with it, but if you really could and you should do, and you're going to decide to not compromise anymore on?
That's too much thinking.
So we're going to skip you, Shonda. You're not going to go first.
One thing I had to learn to do is do exactly what you're saying. I believe in manifestation. So you have to tell, just like how she's thinking already that she's a millionaire, you have to think like a millionaire in order to become one. So with me, I literally had to know my worth. I kid you guys, I'm not conceited by any means, but when I look in the mirror, I have to remind myself, damn girl, you cute. Oh. Damn girl, yeah. You have to tell yourself you look good. Come on, yes, honey.
You got to believe it though, TK.
That's
you can
right.
tell yourself all day, but you got to believe it.
Absolutely.
That's a fact,
and
Ryan.
I look back at that person who's staring at me in the mirror, and I receive it, Ryan, because I believe it. And sometimes when I am feeling stressed or angry or mad, I even tell myself, TK, it's going to be okay. Like I literally talk to myself. So it will be for me knowing my worth. Period.
Your answer just made me think of mine. Actually, that's funny. That's funny.
Go for it, Ryan.
Ryan.
I'm up. Okay. So I heard what you said, and I'm thinking to myself, what is it that I just won't compromise? To your question, Cindy, and I'm thinking, and first thought was, well, I live alone. I'm pretty independent at this point. Whatever I do in my whole lifestyle is kind of set up where I really not. But what you just said, TK, I think it really is probably number one, which is I live my life in a way where something that is just absolutely non-negotiable is allowing my emotions to be dictated by other people.
Come on now.
So what you said was, you get angry, you get that, and it made me think about when I get upset or I get angry or I have an emotional response to something or somebody outside myself. And Tony Robbins he taught me the 90-second rule. He said, you won't find me angry or upset for longer than about 90 seconds. Sometimes we can't help getting upset, like the initial. Yeah. Once you realize you're upset, you're angry, you're frustrated. Once you realize it, at that point, it's your responsibility. And so something that's non-negotiable for me is my emotional state being dictated by anybody or anything else. As soon as I recognize, and I pretty much through self-awareness over more than a decade of, analyzing myself and coaching myself, I was my first client. At that point, once I realize what my emotional state is, I take over. And it's that taking over where I live my life to a certain extent where I dictate my emotions and my emotional state. Nobody else can or will ever. And so that's not negotiable for me. There's nothing that's going to happen or take place that's going to influence me and influence my emotions for longer than 90 seconds, 4 or 5 minutes. That's it. After that, whatever I'm feeling is my choice. Now, it might not be something that's necessarily enjoyable, but I think that's really what it is. You have your routines and your things, and that's a really good place to start, Cindy, which is your routines, because you set your day in order, you set your life in order with your daily routines. The little things are the big things, especially with your everyday life. So if you're sacrificing the things that you do every single day, that's a big part of your day. If that's not going in order, then how are you going to get anything else in order if you're sacrificing those things? But I think for me, that's probably the answer. It's probably my emotional state. It's non-negotiable as far as who's going to dictate and control how I feel.
That's right. I respect that.
I guess
I learned something new today. I didn't know that was what I don't negotiate about. That's good.
Right? Right?
Well,
Is there something that, like, I mean, maybe you can take some time to think about this and we could talk about it in the group chat later. But is there something in your life you're like, I probably shouldn't be so lenient about this. I should draw a line with yourself.
Shonda.
Well, I was gonna say TK and Ryan, as you both were talking, something happened today, and it was something I always tell y'all. I protected my peace, and I started out this year being my motto, protecting my peace. And that means getting rid of family members who are interrupting my peace, getting rid of children who are interrupting my peace, places of employment. I mean, whoever it is that's interrupting my peace got to go. I have always been forgiving and receiving back that person. I have learned to forgive and let go and move on.
Mm-hmm.
I heard two pastors preach this sermon, and they said that resurrection does not always mean restoration.
Come on now.
I forgive you does not mean I have to allow you back in my space.
100%.
Stay over there.
Today, I got into a conversation, and as I was getting riled up, my husband went to rubbing my leg, like, calm down. And immediately I reminded myself, we're not doing this. I finished what I had to say and left it alone and didn't even talk about it anymore. Because I had to remind myself, protect your peace. Do not allow anyone to control how you feel. If you said this, say it, mean it, stand on it, and move on. So I won't compromise my peace anymore, Cindy.
That's right.
That's a combination of boundaries and forgiveness.
Yeah.
I don't, for the betterment of my life.
Mental health.
Right. We always say things that we're not going to do.
My sanity.
Yeah, there are things that we say we're not going to do to just because we haven't really put too much. We're lenient on it.
Yeah.
So this book and this podcast has really been inspiring me. So my spotlight for today was Rachel Rogers. We should all be millionaires.
And I am going to claim that because I will be. Please understand that's on my vision board.
Y'all, I downloaded this app called the Truebill app. Instagram ad, it got me.
Come on now.
It's sponsored by Rocket Mortgage.
Algorithms.
But the algorithm. But I started putting all of my information in there, and it feels like a game.
Financial aspect? What was it? A financial app?
Yeah. So it tells me like my assets, my gains. And
they got one called Nerd Wallet, Cindy, that does that same thing.
Yeah, Nerd Wallet also has, and then it tells me my net worth. And
send that one to me, Cindy.
I know my worth in my spirit, but my net worth is in the negatives.
Realistic. Yep. But thank you. But thank you, Cindy. Oh my God, guys, time is like flying. How are we? You know what? Speaking of this next topic, that's okay. Because when it's so good, Ryan, I don't stop it. I naturally let things happen. So I won't stop anything that is meant to be. So Cindy, thank you for that. Because maybe we touch someone. And hey, if we touch one person, I'm all right with that. But hey, the second topic is very controversial. So let me go ahead and just jump right to it. And I'm actually going to start to the right side and talk about transgender inmate Demi Minor. But second topic is transgender controversy, right? It's no secret that all three that you see on this screen has been all over social media, in the news, and everyone seems to have an opinion or questions. And so I wanted to bring it to the front of the topic to go ahead and discuss some of these things, because it's not even just about educating ourselves, but it's also about bringing awareness to the LGBTQ community. Not only that, just seeking to understand more about transgender in the times that we're living in, where it is now accepted. So speaking of that, starting to my right, I want to start our story and go across the room about the transgender inmate Demi Minor. And if you haven't heard of this story, let me go ahead and share with you someone that I actually follow on Instagram. He's going to break it down for us.
What's poppin'? I don't know if it was last year or the year before, when I first heard that they were allowing men who identify as women to be housed in women's prisons, right? But when I heard it, I was like, what if a heterosexual man, right, decided to say, hey, I'm transgender, I identify as a woman. Put me in the woman's prison. Don't put me over there with the men. And they do it. And then he started humping around like Bobby Brown. What are they going to do about that? My sentiment came and went. Now look, transgender man done got 2 women pregnant. Now what happens? Like, what do you do in a situation like this? Do they discontinue this practice, or is this just going to be considered an isolated incident? How does it work?
Does it work, y'all?
Doesn't.
So I want to talk about, now this is a topic I don't mind speaking on, because I agree exactly what he said. I feel that if a person says that they identify as the sex that they weren't born as, and they still have that body part, and I don't want to offend, let me just give a disclaimer. If I may not know the correct terms, I may apologize now. So I don't want to offend anyone. What I'm saying, if they still have their genitalia, they should not go into that opposite sex prison. So if I'm a male and I said I identify as a female, but I still have my genitalia, I should not be put in the women's prison, and vice versa, because of situations like that can happen. Or because someone could, like you said, someone could just say, hey, that's what I do. That's why I identify as. And things could happen. And not to, oh wow, this is so hard to talk about. And not to say you want to section them off, but to have some different protocols in place that will keep what happened happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people, did somebody get pregnant or something in there, or something happened? Like, that's a big deal.
She got 2 people pregnant inside the same facility.
So does she identify as a female? You can't.
She does.
You can't.
She does.
People pregnant and if you're having sex with them in that manner, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to put my tape back on because I can't do this.
Let me give some background information before we turn it over to Cindy and Ryan. A policy allowing prisoners to be housed and aligned with their gender identity was enacted last year as part of the settlement agreement, because this same facility got sued because they put a transgender female in a male facility. So that's how this whole bill came about. So Aetna, this is a facility that's in New Jersey. They house over 27 transgender inmates, including Demi, Demi Minor, who actually impregnated 2 women in the facility. So Ryan, my question to you is, now that this happened,
pick your lawsuit.
What are they going to do now? Should they go back to the drawing board to see that maybe if you specify yourself as a female, but if you still have, private parts of a male, should you be in a male facility?
So I can't tell that facility what they should do, and I'm not here to speak for anybody else or to say what anybody should or shouldn't do. And so the last thing I want to be is another white guy with an opinion about something that doesn't really necessarily personally pertain to me. And that's really easy to do. It's really easy to peg me as that or somebody as that. It's not how I want to be looked at as just another person with an opinion. But we all are people and we all do have opinions, and we're trying to converse about something. I think conversations where you start with these things, even if we're ignorant to something, and then later on we find out we are, and we learn and we improve how we see things. But right now we see what we see from where we see it as. And so that's what we got to speak from. With this inmate situation, I go back to what Shonda was saying. I think she kind of had a pretty important question. She had this like dilemma. I think with this conversation, across the board, what you have to keep in mind, or at least maybe keep on the table or establish as a premise before you have this conversation about gender identity or transgender rights or so on. I think you have to at least come to some sort of an understanding, if you're going to have this conversation, about the difference and you have to agree that there is a difference to have this conversation, and some people try to play it both ways, between gender and sex. So when you do that, I think these conversations are actually a little bit easier, and going with the Lia Thomas conversation also makes it easier. So what we can understand is that as in terms of gender identity, this inmate identified as a woman, but as a transgender woman, which was born a male, I should say, he won't deny the fact that his sex is male. Even he should not. I mean, if he does, we have some dysphoria going on there, but you understand how you were born, even though you also understand how you identify as. What we have to be able to have a conversation is about whether it's physical activities in sports where we're competing against other physical bodies, or we're housing individuals with certain bodies with other bodies. Are we talking about sex differences between these people where your gender identity is irrelevant in that case? Because we're not competing against other genders in sports. We're not housing genders. We're housing a male, which is a sex, prisons, and we're housing female prisoners in the, you understand what I'm doing here? So I think when you do that, you at least have some sort of an understanding of where we're coming from. If someone wants to chime in and say that there's a different angle, but that's what I like to do. And so that's not really necessarily what I do there. Is I get outside of having an opinion, because it's not my opinion. You know what I mean? The person who identifies as the opposite sex, and that means, their gender identity is different. You have to have a premise or some sort of an axiom that you're starting the conversation from. Otherwise, you'll get taken down all sorts of dirt roads with terminologies and emphasis. And so I'm just saying, for the conversation's sake, and I'll end on this, I would say, are we talking about sex differences regardless of how someone identifies? We can, and this is what I mean, we can respect and acknowledge how someone identifies in terms of their gender identity. And we can acknowledge that, but we can still also at the same time not lose touch with reality about the fact that they still have a certain sex, and it might be relevant when it comes to physical activities. It might be relevant when it comes to procreation. That's where you have to be able, and a lot of people can't hold those two things at the same time, and that's what their head explodes, and they go all in on one thing, and they just want to turn a blind eye to that other fact. We're at that crossroads right now. You can't do that.
We have to educate. Well, Cindy, before I even turn it over to you, let's get to the facts. And I'm going to go and plug in once again the Queen's English Dictionary. So the definition for transgender, it's of, relating to, or being a person who identifies with a gender identity and or expression that differs from their assigned sex at birth. The term is often shortened to trans. Cindy, what are your thoughts about what's happening? Go ahead. What's happening with this case?
I think regarding the sort of abuse of a situation, if you are identifying as female and you are placed by the court in a female prison, and you still possess genitalia of a male, right? The question is, it doesn't talk about what your sexual preference was, right? So it really falls on it can fall on the fault of the court.
Oh, absolutely.
To say,
and that's why go ahead. I'm sorry.
To say, hey, if you are identifying as a woman, a female, but you are attracted to a female, then unfortunately, this is not the place. They try to acknowledge the rights of the person by putting in their sexual identity in the facility in which they identify with. But it's kind of strange that they wouldn't ask what their sexual preference was if they're a prisoner.
Do you think this case or situations like this, they're going to go back to the drawing board and it's going to change the policy?
I think so. I think there's going to be some policy changes for sure.
Yeah.
I think because what you said there, Cindy, is even if you take that person at their word for what their sexual preference is, the bottom line is if you put a male and female genitalia in the same facility, it doesn't matter what someone said they prefer, the outcome is possible, no pun intended. The outcome is possible because of the, you know what I mean? Like, but if you house them where it's all the same thing in the facility, it's not possible, no matter what this person's saying.
Correct. Now, also, there could be another option, a different ward.
Right. That's what
where transgender and that's what I mean. They could probably transfer him to another. I wonder would they even just start putting transgenders all in their own population? Like this is all new to all of us.
Exactly. But that's exactly what it's going to come to, because the middle ground is going to have to be a facility of their own, a league of their own. That seems to be the push of what is the middle ground here, because all of you are making great points as to what the concerns are on everybody's part. So it's so new, like you're saying, where's the middle ground? Because you can't compromise the majority and what's in place to accommodate something that potentially can backfire on a small minority. It's not going to happen like that, or else you're going to run into these problems.
Right.
Our comment section has gotten quiet. Where y'all at? Talk to us.
I know, right? Well, maybe they'll answer this question, because I do want to talk about this one, and we probably can't go into all three. But this one is something that we all could talk about, and this is where I want to hear from you. And this is my question to the audience. So, in front of you is Lia Thomas, the transgender Olympian swimmer. Who was born a male but identifies now as a female, was on the all-male swimming team at her university, but now has switched to the all-female and actually competed in the Olympics and won first place. Do you think, audience, it was unfair that she was entered into an all-female race and now is breaking records, getting all the first place wins? What are your thoughts? Yes or no? Is this unfair? I actually want to let me go to Dr. Shonda about this one first. She's like, why me, TK?
I want to think, when I first saw this, I was thinking about it. So Gigi plays flag football, right? Gigi is what, 5'7", maybe 5'8". She under 200 pounds. I don't know. She's lost a lot of weight. And Elijah is 6'5", 280 pounds, who plays physical contact football. What if Elijah says, "Mom, I identify as a female now," and starts playing flag football with 5'7" Gigi, and knocks her down and almost kills her? Is it fair? No, it's not fair. If they felt enough, if they, meaning the powers that be, whether it's NFL, NCAA, whoever, felt the need to separate female sports and male sports, then they should also separate transgender players or sports.
Guys, I think we got it. It's starting for them to have their own league. You said that, Ryan. Go ahead, Sean.
They felt it necessary to separate male and female sports in the beginning. If it was fair for, what's the lady's name? Is it Lia Thompson? No,
Thomas.
Thomas.
Lia Thomas.
Why was it okay for her to compete in the league that she was in and not be in her own league with other people or other people who identify as female? Because
I can tell you,
it's necessary, like I said before, to separate genders in the beginning, from the beginning of time. There was a reason for that, because women are not as physical, maybe not, most of the time, not as physical as people who are born male, men, whatever. And that's why they felt the need to separate it. So then also, as times are changing, as people are becoming, they want to be, they are saying they are identifying as women or male, they need to also, okay, let's figure out how we can have a league for themselves, because that was not fair at all.
Right. Before I turn it over to you, Ryan, Leah answered your question, Dr. Shonda, and I quote, she says, "The very simple answer is that I'm not a man."
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Thomas said, "I'm a woman, so I belong on a woman's team." End quote. Ryan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Shonda, the counter argument to that is that now you're excluding someone who identifies and considers themselves a woman. You know, so you're not treating them like you do the rest of the women. And the reason why is because you're a different kind of woman than the rest of the women. We have to be honest. And the reason why you're a different kind of woman is because you have a different sex than those women. But the problem, like I started with, was it goes back to this conversation about the difference between gender and sex. Sometimes that's the crux of all of this stuff. And I think, like I said, before you even have a conversation with someone, you have to see where they stand as far as gender and sex. Are they separate things? Is one derived from the other? Do they think they're the same thing? Do they dismiss biology altogether and it's just what someone says? Who cares what your chromosomes or what your genitalia are? You have to find out where the person's head is at that you're talking to, because that's going to be the premise for their whole philosophy in terms of how they view all of this stuff. That's their response and that's their pushback. For me, the Lia Thomas thing and the competitive sports thing on the surface is such an easy one, because physical competition, physical athletics is a competition of physicality. And what you're competing against is someone else's physical abilities. And that is derived from your biology. Your gender identity is irrelevant. How you identify is irrelevant. What we need to know is what's your physical capabilities in terms of your physical abilities as far as how to compete, because that's who you're going to be up against one way and who's going to be up against you. I mean, going back to your original point, this is why there was 2 leagues to begin with. And I always check in with my mom. My mom was an activist, feminist, minority rights, animal rights, civil rights, women's rights. I mean, she's the original OG from the 80s. So I always check in with her about these conversations, because she don't even like to watch the news nowadays anymore, because everything's so jacked up and all these things are getting hijacked and it gets dramatic, and she's not a fan of all that stuff. But for something like this, where I know she'll try to be considerate and she'll try to be compassionate, and or not try to be, she will be, and she'll be thinking about how the inclusivity of everybody's, and that's her default. So I bring this up to her to see where she was at, and even she got to a place where she's like, I'm not really sure. I have to think about this, because that is kind of a predicament. But my take on it is it's a very simple stance, which is physical competition, physical athletics is a competition of physical abilities. Your physical abilities are derived from your biology. What is your biology? That's the category you go into. I don't really care how you identify. That's my stance, and that seems to would be a pretty level playing field. But when you start to conflate the two, you want to dismiss biology and sex and just stick to gender. Well, now we're having an issue where you have to compensate somebody because of what they're saying their gender is, and now you're overriding sex and biology for someone's gender. That's why you're in the predicament you're in.
Cindy,
can I just comment real quick? And while you were talking, Ryan, about physical capabilities, that's even why boxers have different weight class. Even if they're male, they will not put, what is it, heavyweight and little weight? I don't know what they're called, but y'all know what I mean.
Yeah, but that's exactly.
Right.
They put them together because physically they will demolish them. The bigger person will hurt the smaller.
Shauna,
person.
you making a very valid point.
Thank you. I know sometimes I do, girl.
No, that's
that's what I'm saying. Like, think about that when these people who sit around these boardroom tables and try to say, okay, well, since she identifies as a female, put her over here. Then if that's the case, everybody who boxes should just box together. Don't forget who, and let someone who's 400 pounds box somebody who's 100 pounds. He's gonna win. Wow, you won. You're the champion. That's not fair at all.
Very valid point, Cindy.
This is all intertwined with male and female gender roles along, but I 100% agree with Shonda. That's what I was actually going to comment about, the sport of boxing. Because it's a male dominated sport, they started the rules of weight class, because it seemed unfair for a larger size man to be fighting with a smaller size man. And then, women became a part of the sport. But at the end of the day, weight class seems to make sense with everything, frame, size, all of that. Everyone should be she was towering above the other two swimmers.
Let me bring that picture back. Yep, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So the idea just seems out of pocket. She has more width, breadth, length.
Look at the length. Yep.
So I have a counterpoint, Cindy.
Yeah. So I think that weight class, height, size should all matter with a lot of these other sports.
Should they take away her medal?
No, because they let her do it to begin with. I mean, that wasn't her decision.
I mean, she's a part of the system. That's not her fault.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
So, real quick, I have a counter argument to that, just to play devil's advocate, Cindy. This is, I think, what a lot of people would argue when you talk about weight classes. By the way, I still stand on everything that I just said, and I agree with everything that you just said, and I agree with what Shonda's point was. But I think the argument would be, and you can see whether or not this is somebody who has kind of their head in the clouds a little bit or not. With weight classes, there's an obvious physical differences where we can see someone as a lightweight, featherweight, and someone as a heavyweight. We can see that. But men and women, they're the same.
What?
If you're starting from the premise that men and women are equal, they're the same, they're no different, then how they identify doesn't matter who they're competing against because they're interchangeable.
That
you see where you get messy with that?
To biology.
No, correct. But they're not trying to deal with that. I agree with you. Weight classes deal with weight, which is physical, which stems from your biology.
That's mentally. That's psychological.
But if you're going to dismiss biology altogether, which is what seems to be as a part of the argument, which is how someone identifies is the only thing that matters when you're competing in a physical sport. If you do that, you're dead in the water. There's no argument. It's a moot point. You can't go anywhere from that place. You know, to be fair, also real quick, put that picture back up if you could, TK, real quick. I saw that picture initially and I didn't see the stands they were on. I thought they were all in the same, and I don't change my mind about anything I just said. I still stand. She is on the tallest podium. It does drop down. So that girl with the Texas shirt on over there, she's on the lowest podium. She's still probably half a foot shorter than Lia, but just to be fair, and that I noticed that it does stagger off. But come on, the one in the water where she's jumping out and every girl is hitting the water and she's still in the air, that one don't lie. You saw that picture? I mean, that one's a good one too. But I think the point makes itself.
But also, and also there are also women who are that tall. You know, there are also female athletes who are that tall. I believe it still should go down to weight and size. Period.
Thank you, Cindy. Period.
They should do all sports, not all sports. They should do, if they're going to allow transgenders to compete with the sex they identify with, they have to reclassify everything now.
Yeah.
Everything now
if people run
they need their own league.
When people run marathons, they go by age group.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the hormones between males and femels and the testing and the loop and the things.
You know what?
I mean, we won't even go there, but that's another one.
And estrogen. Those the biologically it's just different.
It's just different.
That's a whole other argument.
Yes,
it's
I can't say
the system is sort of needs to be reset.
So Shonda, guess what? I'm going to relieve you tonight. All I'm gonna do is show the picture, but we're not gonna talk about it. I'm just gonna leave it here and I'm gonna walk away. So everybody, speaking of that, up next we have Dr. Shonda with her community corner. Yes, we're going to the corner. We're going to the corner.
When I tell y'all prayer changes things. Changes.
She did not want to talk about it.
Can't nobody tell me I don't serve a good God. Hey, can't nobody tell me I don't serve a good God. He knows his child.
Thank you, Talk Miami family.
Exactly. This girl, you got prayers got answered.
Let's move up to the corner. Thank you. All right. All right. So
let me say this about that picture that you left up there that we didn't speak on.
He's bringing it back, Shonda.
That might have been the one that we should have spoke. That might have been the one that we really should have spoke on because that one has that one hits me the hardest because we're dealing with children. I have a soft spot for children, and that probably is the most important conversation we could have right now in terms of how what's going on with our children, what's going on with their well-being and their health, and so on and so forth, and what's going on with how things are not only broadcast but how they're dealt with behind closed doors. We won't talk about it, but maybe another show. But that needs to be talked about. I'm just saying.
Say So your 2 cents, Ryan. Go
Okay,
ahead.
but wait, how about this? Let me just introduce what the question was going to be, and we'll bring this back for another
Wait,
segment.
TK, you got to
interrupt. You can't. That's Shonda.
No,
You can't.
all
Shonda
right,
spotlight.
all right.
You can't do
No,
it. She
that's
already
right.
gave it a
That's
spotlight.
right.
You
It's
can't
a
do it.
spotlight.
Can't do
Let
it.
me
I
go
just
back. That's
messed
right.
it up.
That'll be for the next show. Look, she's saying God answered her prayer. Here we go.
Okay.
Go.
So for
Go.
tonight's Community Corner, we are going to talk about United Way
Woo!
of Miami.
United Way, bro.
So I have a little excerpt, or what the word is, you know what I mean. I'm going to read something. As an organization, every year, the United Way celebrates National Volunteer Month with a variety of volunteer activities. But on April 23rd, it was Volunteer Miami-Dade. It's a day where they celebrate civic engagement and encourage community members to give back to the community through volunteerism. On that day, they brought together over 100 United Way Miami volunteers who participated in a packing opportunity that will help over 700 local families in need throughout Miami-Dade. Volunteers built, packaged, and distributed early literacy, hygiene, hurricane preparedness, and meal kits, which are critical resources for everyday life. Some of those kits were distributed to families of the Center for Excellence in Early Education, and others were distributed to local nonprofit partners that in turn distribute to vulnerable residents across Miami-Dade. Some of these organizations included YWCA, Pain to Purpose, and United Home Care, and others. So I want to thank United Way. I want to thank TK Owens. Also, I'm aware Casey Craig. Thank you all so much for donating these items to local organizations, especially Pain to Purpose. I had no idea that my sister friend put Pain to Purpose name with us. We can get donations. I am so eternally grateful. TK, you have always supported. No, I'm about to cry. TK, you always supported Pain to Purpose. No questions asked. You never say no. You fuss a little, but you never say no. And I cannot tell you how much that means to me and our organization. Even from monetary donations, from you being there, from hosting the event, from just making sure that Pain to Purpose has what they need. I so thank you so much. And I love you, not for just being a friend, but being a sister, being a coach, everything you are to me. I thank you so much. I really appreciate you. So thank you all. Thank you, United Way, for thinking of us. We will make sure these families get these packages. We're going to have a big packing party soon, hopefully, so that we can stuff persons together, make it a day that we do this together. And also, I wanted to just add, if you're interested in becoming a volunteer, we encourage you to visit volunteermiami.org. Volunteer Miami, powered by United Way, is Miami-Dade's community service hub, offering a variety of volunteer opportunities all year long. It is also a tool for local organizations who want to recruit volunteers for their own community initiatives. Honey, I will be logging on to volunteermiami.org for our teen summit, for all our events, because I did not know. So now I know. So that is volunteermiami.org if you want to become a volunteer, and for nonprofits in the community who want to receive volunteers, recruit volunteers, is good for you as well. So thank you so much again, United Way.
Where'd she go?
I don't know. She took herself out the stream.
The mic and left. She dropped down.
I tried to unmute myself and completely took myself out, but you are so welcome, Dr. Shonda. When Casey and I were thinking about organizations to give to, you were the first organization that we wanted to give to.
Y'all know I'm a cry baby when it comes to Pain to Purpose. Don't do that.
And I got to bring home all your kits tomorrow.
Yeah, y'all want me to cry, talk about my husband and Pain to Purpose, and I'm going to cry.
But thank you
so much.
You're so welcome.
Thank
guys.
Put your phone number now. I'm going to send it to Ryan.
Exactly.
Hey, listen. TK, real quick, I didn't know the extent to which you all were involved in United Way. I saw a couple of posts, and we haven't got to speak on that yet. I'm the United Way ambassador for Miami-Dade College Homestead campus.
Casey, you
every
heard
year,
that, right?
yeah, we got to work, man. We got to work together. For
Alignment.
4 years, they'll probably ask me to do it again. But for the last 4 years, I've been the ambassador for United Way for the Homestead campus. We do a drive. We raise the funds through the faculty. And so, like, I've been doing that.
Jesus,
like,
Casey.
as a
Casey works as the community engagement manager.
Look at that.
Community,
We gotta work, man.
Miami-Dade College.
No, big time.
Okay.
Like that would help. That would help for sure. Just want to throw that out there.
Swipe
I was
right.
there
What time you go to work, Ryan?
What'd you say, Dr. Shonda?
What time you go to work?
When I want to. Nah, what you mean?
Ooh. I just want to see, I'm trying to put in the schedule so Casey can come by and just,
Well, I'm off this week. I'm in between semesters, but we start in summer classes.
Casey is also
next semester.
technically still a professor at Miami-Dade College Kendall
Yes,
campus,
she
which I can
is.
vouch for her employment.
Oh, then there's a conflict
I've
of
been to
interest
her
there.
job.
Then there's a conflict of interest. If she's repping Kendall, then she's already tied up, I'm sure.
Yeesh.
We can see
No,
what's up.
she left that job and came over to United Way. All right.
Yeah. That's the fall, Dr. Shonda, the fall semester. We'll kick that off in the fall semester.
Well, guys,
Yes.
one
Fall
thing,
too long.
Dr. Shonda, you are more than welcome. We will always think of you, and guys, more to come. Guys, I forgot to mention when we talked about May, that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it is just right for Ryan to take us out and bring us home. Ryan, go ahead and give some real talk with Ryan. You have 5 minutes. What would you like everyone to know about mental health during this month, and why is it so important?
Yeah, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I guess what I want to say is, and I'll try not to take 5 minutes, but I guess for me, my take on Mental Health Awareness Month starts this month, May. The thing about Mental Health Awareness Month is what you find just about every time we come around to May every year, you find that we end up talking more about mental illness than we do about mental health. And the ironic thing is it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And we really, I don't think, because mental illness is such an important topic and it's so pressing because people's lives are affected in such a negative way with mental illness, I don't know how much time we take and how much energy and effort and resources we really dedicate towards mental health. And what I mean by that is, are we being proactive in teaching and educating people how to really master and take control of their mental health and their well-being before mental illness grabs a hold of them, if they can prevent it? Now, I understand there are some genetic aspects to mental illness that are unavoidable. There are certain circumstances, situations that really, really are hard to avoid, that people end up struggling with mental illness. But for the rest of us that right now, we're okay, we're healthy, we're well per se, but we're dealing with life. How many of you all are educating yourselves or dedicating aspects to your life, your morning routine, to speak about what we were talking about earlier? What are you doing to preserve or to enhance your mental well-being, your mental health now, to really offset some of the things that could potentially affect you down the road? How much are we investing in ourselves to prevent proactively from falling victim to or struggling with these mental illnesses that we tend to focus a lot of our time and energy and effort on bringing awareness to? But I think at this point in 2022 with social media, we're all aware of the mental illnesses that are out there. I think we're seeing them across the board, from the media to the news. We're well aware of how important and how relevant mental illnesses are and how they can affect and debilitate people's lives. But are we spending enough time being proactive and taking control of our own health, our own well-being, our own psychology, our own mentality, our own emotional state, our daily routine, our physical well-being, which has adverse consequences to our emotional state and our psychological well-being? How much time are we focusing on that? And what I want to do this month is I'm going to try to put out some content that really is going to focus on what you can do proactively, how you can invest in yourself in a way that increases your well-being and your health, so that you don't actually end up in those states with those that stuff, suffering from something like your anxiety, your depressions, and the stress disorders that we hear and we talk about very often all throughout the month. Raising awareness and talking about those things, we need to address those things with those people who are struggling, but we also need to know, hey, what can I do to avoid, to prevent, to proactively not fall into that trap, or I should say, not fall into a situation or a scenario in my life where it gets the best of me, and now I find myself struggling with a mental illness because I didn't preserve my mental health. And so for Mental Health Awareness Month, what I would get you to do is ask yourself, try to find some resources. You can connect with me, reach out to me, but Google's not hard to find, man. Look up what can you do to really set your life in order from a mental health standpoint, so you have some resiliency about yourself as you face everyday challenges, as you go through life, because life is trying, life is difficult, life is hard, life is taxing. But life is great, man. And we need the skills and we need the tools to really take on and face these challenges that come at us, the waves that I say life throws at us. I always talk about it from an existential standpoint. Life throws waves at you. You have three options. You can just give up and drown because it's too overwhelming. A lot of people do. Unfortunately, that's the case. Not a lot of people, but some people do. The second option is you can just say, I'm going to try and get by and try to survive. Just try to deal with life. Just try to keep my head above water and doggy paddle and just try to get by barely. Well, now you're at the mercy of just one wave putting you right over the top. And now, but the third option is you can use those waves in life to surf. And to do that, you have to teach yourself how to surf. You have to understand how to use the waves that life throws at you. So I would just really recommend that everybody, instead of staying focused on and thinking about May as Mental Health Awareness Month, where we start looking at mental illness and waving the flag and broadcasting and talking about how important it is to be mindful of people who are potentially struggling with suicidal thoughts. Very important. Make sure you keep an eye out with that. Make sure you give those people resources. How important it is to help assist people who are struggling with something like severe depression, or if they're struggling with anxiety, to see somebody to talk about that. Yeah, we need to do those things. But I think what we need to do is we need to invest more resources and our time and our effort in ourselves and in helping people prevent from getting to that space, because you're going to get hit by waves for the rest of your life. But if you learn how to surf now, then you can prevent and offset falling a victim to those illnesses and those states that you could fall into that are what we really are focusing on a lot of times, which are the mental illness aspect of things. So I guess my message would be for this month, and really, you know, these months that we, from Black History Month to Mental Health Awareness Month, it ain't just 1 month out the year. This is just the awareness of a reminder of what you need to be mindful of and focus on and think about every day of the year. It's just the 1 month we choose to really spotlight it. So what I would encourage you to do is let this month be a reminder that every month and every day, you need to be mindful of your mental health. You need to take responsibility for your well-being, and you need to prioritize yourself. I call it healthy selfishness. You got to prioritize yourself first and invest in yourself so that you don't become that next statistic and you don't struggle with those illnesses that we seem to spotlight and we don't talk a lot about enough, really, about how people can prevent becoming or finding themselves in that situation. So this month, think about and look into what you can do from your physical standpoint, from a physical standpoint, mental standpoint, spiritual standpoint, emotional standpoint. What can you do this month, maybe one day at a time, to invest in yourself? Cindy was talking about daily routines, talking about what you do, how you set your day in order. That's a big deal, man. What can you do in terms of your diet and what nutritional content you're putting in your body? Are you moving? Are you exercising? Who's in your inner circle? Who are you communicating with every day? Are they toxic? Are they poisonous? What relationships are you in? Are you at a job right now that's bad for your soul, that leaves you in a negative emotional state, that's really taxing your health? These are things you can look at, make one change at a time, start one day at a time, but move towards mental health and investing in that so that you don't become that statistic that we unfortunately have to draw attention to help bring resources to individuals that are struggling with mental illnesses.
And he said what he said. Yes, Ryan, thank you. Thank you so much. That is Real Talk with Ryan. Ryan, thank you so much. You've just brought so much to this show. Cindy, before we go, there's one more thing because I want you to take us out. But this weekend is a very special weekend because it is Happy Mother's Day weekend.
Yes,
we would like to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers that are out there. Dr. Shonda, myself, and everyone that is watching. Just like Ryan said, it's not just one day or 1 month. We are mothers 365 days a year. And so happy Mother's Day from your Talk Miami family. Cindy, you want to take us out? Go ahead and promote the show.
What an incredibly impactful show tonight, y'all. Like Ryan said, it's May is Mental Health Awareness, but we want to make sure that we're doing what we need to do. And yes, Google search. If you can Google search how to bake a cake, you can research how to find the nearest grief counselor and find the help that you need. And thank you always for all of our loyal listeners. To all of our loyal listeners who like our stuff and share our posts and talk about Talk Miami and show up to Talk Miami every week. Y'all want anything from the gas station? Make sure you check us out on Facebook Live and YouTube Live every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribe and like to our channel. Follow us on Instagram at Talk Miami Talk Show, on our Twitter, Talk Miami Talk Show. And if you're checking us out after the live stream, you can check us out wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts at Talk Miami Talk Show.
Yes. So everybody, we will be back next week. It was an amazing show. Thank you so much for joining us. I know we went past, but it was just so naturally done. you can't stop great conversation. And that's exactly what I felt tonight. So guys, Dr. Shonda will be your host next week. So make sure you tune back next Monday, same time, same channel. Everybody, we'll see you next week. Ooh, pop, pop. Ooh.
All right, ladies.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Happy Mother's Day.
Y'all. Thank you. Happy Mother's